All right, y'all. So you probably clicked this video because you believe that AI is replacing entry level jobs. Now, a part of this, you probably clicked because of the title, a part of this is true and a part of it is untrue. I think that when people tend to be very uh, black and white about things or very like adamant that this is the way we're going, it's not necessarily entirely true. I believe that when you look at things on both sides of the perspective, like AI is taking all our entry level jobs, that's it, or AI is absolutely not taking any jobs, we're falling somewhere in the middle. Now, I think that the career ladder in the beginning, like internships or those first level roles, are definitely going away. I think that if you don't have some kind of experience, getting that first job is going to be relatively difficult. See, I'm talking as someone who came from retail and I had to do a few different things outside of just college in order to land my first corporate role. And again, I always say this, and if you've been watching my previous videos, relationships are everything, and that's the way to get in. So that's what is the biggest thing that's changing is just that, and I have my notes here, is there's jobs that we used to learn how to actually do the job that's going away because of the rise of AI being able to support folks in understanding how to do those things, especially in the lowest rung of any specific job. And I think that more and more organizations are removing those entry level jobs because they want growth. So they want people to come in and kind of hit the ground running. I'm seeing that in a lot of, especially medium sized organizations, like larger scale organizations, the Facebooks and Microsofts of the world have the money and capacity to hire entry level talent or have an internship program um, in order to help people grow. And sometimes they hire those people into roles depending on how they do, and sometimes they don't. Now, to be honest, that is probably going to be less and less as time progresses because most people will have some kind of work style training through AI. That's that's my theory. That's why I think we're going in the future. But again, working in recruiting, you kind of see the shifts in the market because unfortunately, again, I'm seeing a lot of organizations looking for people who can already do the job. Like that's what I notice a lot. A lot of organizations are no longer hiring the basic level of any role. It's like a level step above, and the person at least needs to have 1 or 2 years of experience already doing that thing. I always use an example of a sales development representative, which is an entry level sales role. Now, it'd be smart if companies just have an internship to do that and a really good onboarding slash learning and development program that can have an SDR do the job relatively quickly. But because they don't have that kind of time, just due to the economic environment, they're not allowing for that. They want people to come in 1 or 2 years of experience. I hire SDRs now. I also do research outside of my day job to see what that market is like, as well as supporting candidates after they go through a hiring process with me to make sure that they can find their first job, especially those that don't have a sales development background. See, because before, and I needed to take notes on this, is that we had training ground. So junior folks they will always do like the grunt work, right? Gather data, write drafts. If you're a developer, software engineers, you write simple code, or even in recruiting, we used to hire like sourcers to kind of help with sourcing candidates before they were a full cycle recruiter. I barely see those anymore. Everything is like we need a fully sourced, a full cycle recruiter only, even for entry level recruiting job, for instance. So instead of learning a class, you just have to know how to do it now. And that's where companies are shifting to more and more and more because they need to make money. And unfortunately, that creates a kind of vacuum in the future. And I think we'll figure this out. And as humans always do, we figure it out the hard way. And as we continue to remove these entry level jobs, we're not going to find the talent necessary coming from a recruiter. We're not going to find the talent necessary to fill those really high level jobs, whether it's a senior level or above. Um, So where's that going to come from? I think we're going to eventually revert back, obviously, again, with the support of AI in terms of like a learning and development perspective, because I worked in learning and development for a little bit as well. We're going to have to teach these people to ramp up. We're going to have to give longer ramp ups. Usually salespeople get a ramp up period between like 1 month to 6 months. I've seen all in between. We're going to have to do that for all jobs, because we're not going to find the talent, or at least there's going to be a strong competition for those talent as people continue to leave these markets and go out. I've already heard of like a 3 or 4 friends who have left tech, for instance, because they were like, I don't see a future here. I have a friend who became a barista, started his own coffee company. I've gotten a friend who left tech and became people who make beer. I don't know what they're called, forget the title, but he works for a brewery now, and he's actually the one making the beer in the back. So I'm seeing more people move into trades like that, and even though it's less money, they consider themselves very happy doing that, even if they're making less money. They're willing to take the risk. They're willing to live with multiple people in order to make ends meet, which is very interesting coming from people who worked at tech and made 150, 200K a year. So um, if that's not you and you still look to be in the tech market, and this is what you need to do, you need to build your skills ASAP. And it's not necessarily about doing the hard skills of the job. Knowing how to use this specific program, knowing how to use AI is going to be something that's needed. But again, I'm going to go back to needing those soft skills: communication, having proper judgment of decisions that are being made, thinking cross functionally, trying to think proactively. Who do you need to go to? You need to own your projects and make sure that you can own the outcomes. How does your job tie into the revenue of the organization? These are things you want to think about as you're getting into your career. Most people don't think about this early on in the career. So, as you're looking for a job, entry level people, what I'd say is, instead of positioning yourself as someone who completes tasks, position yourself as someone who can solve a problem. And learn how the business operates. Make sure your first year should be all about learning the organization, and hopefully organizations allow you to do that, to learn how the business operates. By year one, you should have a grasp of how the business operates and how you can help and be part of that business function and move the business forward. Because again, the business is an entity. We're never going to go back to the business not being an entity. It just is. So even if this first rung of the career ladder is disappearing, it doesn't mean that entire careers are disappearing. I don't think AI is going to remove entire careers. Maybe like one or two. Again, you're probably seeing in law or some medical parts of AI may remove it, but there's so many human components that are still necessary in a lot of the decision making. And right now, it's really hard to tell when these AI company owners are talking about AI, because they're biased in so many ways. So it's really hard to believe them, um, in what's happening with the AI era. So time will tell. At the end of the day, that's what we need to focus on. Time will tell. Look at the shifts in the market. What is happening? A lot of people are scared. We're definitely living in a fear-based society right now with everything happening. We just need to be patient. Humans always figure it out. You got to be optimistic in this kind of world and stop listening to the stuff that's out there. I'm not going to use the other word that's there, in order to make sure that you succeed in where the future of work is going. So, um, curious to hear your questions. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. I'm always looking to have those conversations and follow up with any questions that you may have. As someone who works in the recruiting space and kind of looks at the job market every single day, and wish you the best of luck in your journey in finding a job, especially if you're entry level. All right.